Guy Code with Rena Oswald.
And welcome back. This is part 2 of Introduction to the Red Pill. If you haven't listened to part 1, you should go back and listen to it. So in this series, we are just going through a couple of terms that we're going to be familiar with in the near future, and the kind of terms that we'll be using on this podcast, and as we discuss a few things about, manhood, especially the red pill. So we left it at blue pill. Now we're going to the next one called Briffault's Law. Briffault's Law, I think I pronounced it correctly. So it's from a guy called Robert Briffault. He was a British surgeon and social anthropologist. And he stated in his book that the matriarchal theory of social origins, that's the name of the book, the matriarchal theory of social origins. And in this book, he stated that the female, not the male, determines all conditions of the animal family, while the female can derive no benefit from the association with the male. No such association takes place. Now, this is such a serious law, and I will definitely have a full episode just dissecting this and making it more palatable for you guys. It's very much into like what you've probably heard before, just heard recently, hypergamy. So I think this is the original law. So it's a very interesting one because it really brings out truth in that females are designed for survival, and they're usually the ones who come up with the terms of this relationship in the animal kingdom. So I was surprised it's not just human beings, it's all the animal kingdom. You can imagine that. They're the ones who bring up the rules and the conditions based on what they see as a beneficial to them. Okay? So women actually get into these relationships anywhere across all species based on their own interests and what they seek to benefit. I think this is why explains why some ladies, in their early 20s, late teens, probably just entering adulthood, are saying that I can't be involved with someone my own age. Why? Because they have nothing to tell me, they have nothing to give to me. You see, I'm sure you've heard that, atanipatia nini, that's in Swahili, what will he give it to me? In that they want to derive something. And this is a main fact. This is a book that he came out, I think it came out in the late 50s, early 60s. And he's an anthropologist, and it's all over the world. He's British. It's all over the world. This is how it's done. That the female are the ones who choose who they will mate with, who they will have a relationship with, based on their benefits. And when they feel they can no longer have benefits from that association, they leave. You get? I think there's this comedian, him, called Chris Rock. He said, when females or just ladies meet the other lady friends and said, I just found someone, one of the main questions they're asked is, what does he do? What does this interpret to? In what will this guy offer that will help you? And this happens everywhere in the world. It's just a fact. If they have nothing to benefit from, they have no time for association, they have no time. Or if they have something to benefit and you end up slacking, they will leave. And that's when you hear women saying, he's stopped putting in effort. This is one of the laws. It's an actual law. So it's called the Briffault's Law. Now another one called the carousel. Carousel. I think I've pronounced it well. It's Carousel. Carousel. Now this is the period where women are in their youthful prime and they have the peak of the alphas and can openly set the standards and demands of any interaction. Now the carousel is more of like, the fun. Carousel in mean, I think it's normal terms. It's a ride. You can get in one of these amusement parks or something. So it's used in this manosphere as this is the period where women are in their youthful prime. I think scientifically, it's stated that women reach their beauty prime in the age of, I think, 21. Men is 31. So it's actually something that I will delve into later. That's very interesting. So yes, it's a carousel. The carousel is, I think, it's made to 18 to 25. I think above 25 is when I think most societies say that this woman is starting to, mature and needs to settle down. Some up to 30. It depends on the kind of society you're in. Us being in Africa, I think it's 25. So it's the carousel. It's a carousel where she's in her prime. She's the best that she will ever be, living her best life, and she can pick whoever she wants to be with. The best, the alphas, the ones who give her the thrill and the excitement and make her feel totally into the moment. So this is the period where beta males will struggle so much. A beta male, unless he's a provider or a good provider, has something to give to her, I don't think they will have this pick of these women. I think apart when these women are above 25 or going into 30s, that's when they'll more likely settle down with the beta males, when they're like, okay, you know what, I've had my fun. I think I mentioned that in the last episode. I've had my fun and I now want to settle down with some guy who will actually give me what I want. So this is a carousel. So when a woman is in a carousel, that's when in a youthful prime, sexual prime, when she said, you know what, I'll pick whoever I want. I set the standards. If you don't 6 foot tall, if you're not very, a great body, if you're not probably even light skin, dark skin, whatever, or if you're not having this kind of resources, I don't have time for you. And they can bring up those standards, and they will get the best of those standards, because you know what, they're in their prime. I know they are hotcakes right now. They're in demand, and everyone wants a piece of them, and they can pick and choose whoever they want to associate with. So that's in their carousel phase. Whatever their prime is, either 18 to 25, 18 to 30, depends on your society you're living in. That's it. Now another one is the cuckold. Cuckold. Now cuckold is a beta whose female was knocked up by an alpha and forced to raise the result. Now, I think this is a cuckold is where it comes back to, a beta male who has finally probably gotten one of the women who have already passed the carousel phase. She probably became a single mom, and now he's the one to raise the result. They had their fun with these alphas, and things happened probably, and she decided to keep the baby. And the cuckold is the one who's going to now take care of the baby after the alpha has already had his share, his fun with her, and bounced. This is the cuckold. I think generally in manospheres they usually assume that it's a black alpha and a white beta. So these black athletes, they usually in their prime, whether athletes, rappers, musicians, artists, whatever, that get a lot of groupies. So these groupies come together. They probably have several baby mamas, as most rappers do. And then now the beta male comes in later in life, when this woman said, you know what, I have a child now, I need to settle down. This phase of being a carousel is over, and I need to settle down with someone who, will provide the needs of this child I have. And this is when the cuckold comes in. So mostly the lady in this phase who's with the cuckold usually has an ex she can't get over. And I think the beta male will not be, as needy as he is. He won't dare, try and bring that up and say, you can't talk to this person. So he will just allow the woman to just talk to her ex and whatever, and they could hook up once in a while. But of course, this won't be known to the beta male, because he's just trying to, be nice, be the gentleman, which instead of having a backbone and standing up for what he wants. So this is the cuckold. A man who is forced to raise, the child after his woman was impregnated by an alpha. Cuckold. Frame. I think this is used a lot. I think we will use it a lot. The next one is called frame. Now, frame is the control of how another person, especially female, perceives themselves. In short, sticking to what you believe is true and not being swayed. Maintaining frame. I think you've heard of this phrase before. Maintaining frame means this comes from the assumption that women usually don't really know what they want. Now, Maintaining frame is like, it's hard to describe, and I really had to look into and get into studying and find out what does this really mean. Now, maintaining frame is like, I think there's a times that you're dealing with women and they just trying to test you, they try to tease you, they try to maybe call you names, make fun of you, and they're really just trying to test, will you really stand up for what you believe in or what you just said. That's what meaning frame is. A frame is like your frame of masculinity. Will you bend, or will you bend, say, to what they think and end up apologizing, say, oh, you know what, I'm sorry, you're right, you know what, yeah, then you try to prove yourself. No. I think alphas always tell other alphas you should always maintain frame, in that you stay in your masculine. You have a backbone. You're like, yes, this is what I say, this is what I believe, and I said what I said. It's who I am. I give my opinions, whether you like it or not. That is up to you. So I think it's very important that an alpha, maintains frame. You might be wrong, but you have to stand up for what you want. If you're easily swayed by opinions, she won't respect you, because like, this guy doesn't have an opinion of his own. He's too easily, influenced by, if he's forced to question, or if he's forced to defend what he believes in, he will end up bending over and trying to compromise and trying to explain himself. No, alphas always maintain frame. Whatever you said, whatever you believe in, stick to it, even if it is unpopular. No one cares. She might make fun of it. You're like, you know what, whatever, I said what I said, I believe what I believe, and they will respect you more for it. If you end up being spineless, they just see you as a pushover and a carpet, and like, you know what, this person can be told anything and be easily influenced. That's what it is. Frame. Hypergamy. Now, this is one that is used a lot, and I think is one of my favorite, actually. Hypergamy. Now, this is the perceived tendency of females to date and be with men of higher socioeconomic status than them, and this is believed to be instinctual. Now, hypergamy, this is when you hear about all this monkey branching and women do that, and so it's really based on a belief that women will always look for someone higher status than them, in any way, whether in looks, whether in economic status, social status, because they trying to reproduce with the highest alpha they can attain. When they see some people in that level, they want to reproduce them. And you remember that women are made for survival. I think it's anyway in the animal kingdom, referring to Briffel's law. These women will actually find someone a higher social economic status, societal status, physical looks, so that this will actually benefit them as far as reproduction, and also increasing their status. So especially, this is hypergamy actually applies for women who are younger, most of them, especially in the carousel age, the 18 to 25, when they're in their youthful prime, and they're just trying to find the best deal. And I'll say this for men. Women are always looking for an upgrade. That's why you should always be at the top of your game, always trying to upgrade yourself, because if you find one and you said, okay, I bagged this one and I can now relax, I can now stop working as hard, I can now stop taking care of myself, I can now stop grooming myself, she'll say, hey, you're slacking, and you're not becoming the person I was initially attracted to, and they will find someone else. And sometimes, even if you're trying to be your best, they will try and go for someone better, because it's a better deal for them. So this is the hypergamy. It's the tendency of females to date and be with men of higher social economic status than them. So I think it's actually instinctual. Well, that's what I found very interesting. It's an instinct that sometimes they don't notice it, and they're just drawn with them. They're drawn with people who are high status, people who have, and it's not always about money. Probably could be looks, more it could be charisma, more probably could be confidence. They just are drawn to that kind of energy, and it's instinctual. So this usually happens to men who are like, oh, I lost my girlfriend to this in person, or what did I do wrong? I was the perfect person for her. Well, we never got to fight. You know what, man? She really just wanted a better deal, and you weren't it for her. And when she saw a better deal, she just, what she called, monkey branch to a higher level than you. So this happens a lot, and I'll definitely get into it later in other episodes. And yeah, I think these are the definitions we're going to handle for this episode. I think this is a part 3 and a couple others that we'll be going through. So guys, stay tuned, stay subscribed, listen, remember these words and the definitions, and we will be back with other definitions in the next episode to discuss and familiarize ourselves as we go through this journey of the red pill and just self-development. So see you guys soon.